social engagement presentation on Zambia.
Historical events, allies, and travel. Historical timeline of Zambia. During the first millennium BC, Zambia was occupied by migrants from farther north who probably spoke Bantu languages, cultivated crops, and kept domestic stock. Traces of ironworking were found dated from the first 5 or 6 centuries. Farming, hunting, and food production promoted population growth. During the 2nd century, cotton spinning and pipe smoking were introduced. By the 6th century, copper was traded and used as currency. During the 12th century, the Shona people arrived and later established the Mwiini Mutapa Empire. In the 16th century, the people from Luba and Lunda, the Lumba and Lunda empires of Zaire, set up small kingdoms. Late in the 18th century, Portuguese explorers arrived in the area, which led to instability generated by migration as well as slave trading by the Portuguese and Arabs. In 1851, British missionaries arrived. In 1889, Britain established control over northern Rhodesia. In the late 1960s and 1970s, private land was nationalized. In 1975, the Tam-Zam Railway opened, which provided a link between the copper belt to the Tanzanian port of Dar es Salaam. This reduced Zambia's dependence on Rhodesia and South Africa for its exports. In 1991, Frederick Chiluba became president. In 2001, the African Union was launched. In 2002, Levi Mawawasa was sworn in as president amid opposition. In 2005, the World Bank approved a $3.8 billion debt relief package, which wrote off more than 50% of Zambia's debt. In 2006, oil was discovered in western Zambia. In 2008, President Mawawasa died and President Rupia Banda became president. In 2010, Zambia and China signed a mining cooperation agreement and deal setting up a joint economic zone. Zambia and China agreed to build a second hydroelectric power plant in the Kafue River. In 2011, Michael Sata became president. In 2014, Edgar Lungu became president that year. Zambia has numerous allies, trade partners, and diplomatic relations. Here's a list of the countries that fit that bill. If you decide that you would like to travel to Lusaka, Zambia, round-trip flights are listed in US dollars from various cities in America and Canada. Once you are in Lusaka, Zambia, you may decide to go to other countries in Africa. Here is a list of round-trip prices to the various countries in Africa, and all prices are in US dollars. Visas, citizenship, and currency.
Tourism visas is one of the forms of visa you could get. There's also another one that is considered an ordinary visitor visa. And this lists what you would need to have and what you would need to do in order to get that visa. But note, individuals on study, visiting, temporary employment permit, and temporary permits cannot invite visitors. Citizenship. Applicants age 16 and above must submit copies of the following documents that are listed below. Applicants less than 16 years old must submit copies of documents listed below. Dual citizenship application process. Send an email to the consular at zambiaembassy.org with the following details, which are listed. Citizenship. That information is listed below also. The following attachments should be included, and it's there for your reading. And note, dual citizenship applications requires an in-person consular interview. Currency. The Zambian kwacha was first issued in 1968 to replace the Zambian pound. The design of the kwacha bill changed over time, and different bills were either introduced into or withdrawn from circulation. There's more information following. The old currency unit was divided by 1,000. The pre-existing K20 banknote was removed from circulation due to its extreme low purchasing power. In January 2013, the Bank of Zambia, the new redenominated currency, became the legal tender of Zambia. The old and new currencies were allowed to circulate side by side for a transition period of 6 months until June 30, 2013. Truth of the new currency, and the features are listed below. The common features are the African fish eagle, the coat of arms, the signature of the Bank of Zambia governor, and obligation to pay the sum indicated on the banknote, and the face value of the specific banknote. Each banknote features a unique indigenous tree from the abundant forest covering the country. In the reverse side, the reverse features the freedom statue of Lusaka, the issuing authority of the legal tenders in Zambia, the Bank of Zambia, the face value of the banknote. Next. There are security features that are listed, and multiple security features were applied to avoid counterfeit banknotes. These are pictures of the banknotes, or some banknotes and coins that the kwacha was in or is in.
Demographics, religion, and government. Population of Zambia as of 2023 is more than 20 million people. The urban population is 9 million, or 45% of the population. Life expectancy is a little over 62 years of age. Zambia is home to 72 ethnic groups, mostly Bantu speaking. 9 major ethno-linguistic groups cover about 90% of the population. Nyanja, Chua, Tonga, Tambula, Lunda, Luvale, Kaonde, Nkoya, Loi, Bamba, and Bamba, which is the largest. Between 15 and 20%, or 18 and 20%, identify as Bamba. 33% of the population speaks Bamba. There has been an increase in the Chinese population, with 80,000 Chinese living in Zambia as of 2019. There is a significant Asian community, Indian and Chinese, as well as a European white immigrants from Zimbabwe. Religion and government. The population is 95% Christian, with various Protestant denominations involved. The Catholic Church, Seventh-day Adventists, and the New Apostolic Church are also present. Government. Zambia obtained independence from British rule in 1964. It is a republic with a constitution, an executive called the president, a legislative body which is unicameral, a unicameral National Assembly, and a judicial Supreme Court, High Court, magistrate courts, and local courts. Zambia has only one ruling political party entitled the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, or MMD. Its 9 provinces are subdivided into 72 districts.
Education. Education, overview of the educational system. The educational system in Zambia is divided into 3 levels: primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Primary education is compulsory for children ages 7 to 14, while secondary education is divided into junior and senior levels. Tertiary education includes universities, colleges, and vocational training institutions. Challenges in the education system. One of the main challenges facing the education system in Zambia is a lack of funding, which has resulted in overcrowded classrooms, limited resources, and poor infrastructure. There is also a shortage of qualified teachers, particularly in rural areas, which has a negative impact on the quality of education. Opportunities for improvement. Despite these challenges, there are opportunities for improvement in the education system in Zambia. The government has introduced various reforms aimed at improving access to education, including the introduction of free primary education. There is also a growing emphasis on vocational training and skills development to meet the needs of the labor market. Conclusion. In conclusion, the education system in Zambia faces many challenges, but there are also opportunities for improvement by addressing issues such as funding, teacher training, curriculum development. The country can work towards providing quality education for all children in Zambia. Healthcare. Healthcare in the medical system. The medical system in Zambia is a combination of public and private healthcare services. The Ministry of Health is responsible for overseeing and regulating the healthcare system in the country. The government provides healthcare services through a network of public hospitals, health centers, and clinics, which offer services to the general population at subsidized rates or for free. In addition to the public healthcare system, there are also private hospitals and clinics that provide healthcare services to those who can afford to pay for them. These facilities often offer higher quality care and more specialized services than public facilities. Challenges in the healthcare system. The healthcare system in Zambia faces a number of challenges, including limited funding, shortages of healthcare workers, and inadequate infrastructure in rural areas. As a result, access to healthcare services can be limited, particularly in remote and underserved areas. Challenges in the healthcare system. Despite these challenges, the government of Zambia has made efforts to improve the healthcare system in the recent years, including increasing funding for healthcare services, training more healthcare workers, and improving infrastructure. Additionally, international organizations and nonprofit groups provide support for healthcare initiatives in Zambia, helping to improve access to healthcare services and address key health issues in the country.
Economy and trade. Zambia is a large, landlocked, resource-rich country with sparsely populated land in the center of southern Africa. It shares its borders with 8 countries: Angola, Botswana, the DRC, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe, but expands its regional market for goods and services. Zambia is experiencing a large demographic shift and is one of the world's youngest countries by median age. Its population, much of it urban, is estimated at about 19.6 million in 2021, with a rapid growth rate of 2.7% per year, reflecting the relatively high fertility rate. Zambia is a developing country, and it achieved middle-income status in 2011. Through the first decade of the 21st century, the economy of Zambia was one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa, and its capital, Lusaka, the fastest-growing city in the Southern African Development Community, SADC. Zambia's economic performance has stalled in recent years due to declining copper prices, significant fiscal deficit, and energy shortages. Zambia is currently ranked 8th in Africa, 5th in the Southern African Development Community, and 4th in the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa in terms of the ease of doing business. Furthermore, Zambia is ranked the 8th most competitive country in Africa on the Global Competitiveness Index. Recently, Zambia was ranked 7th by the Forbes as the best country for doing business among 54 African countries. Economy. The main sectors fueling the economy of Zambia are mining, agriculture, fisheries and livestock, energy, and tourism. Trade. In 2022, Zambia was the number 104th economy in the world in terms of GDP, the number 88th in total exports, the number 115th in total imports, the number 158th economy in terms of GDP per capita, and the number 96th most complex economy according to the Economic Complexity Index. Exports. The top exports of Zambia are raw copper, refined copper, gold, precious stones, and ferroalloys, exporting mostly to Switzerland, China, the DRC, Pitcairn Islands, and the United Arab Emirates. In 2022, Zambia was the world's biggest exporter of raw copper, amounting to $6.6 billion. Imports. The top imports of Zambia are refined petroleum, nitrogenous fertilizers, delivery trucks, copper ore, and packaged medicaments, importing mostly from South Africa, Equatorial Guinea, China, the United Arab Emirates, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In 2022, Zambia was the world's biggest importer of cobalt oxides and hydroxides.
Interesting facts. In the 1964 Summer Olympics, Zambia entered the opening ceremony as Northern Rhodesia. Zambia left the Olympics with a new flag and its current name, Zambia. So it was the first country to change its name. The flag is green with an orange-colored eagle flying over a rectangular block of 3 vertical stripes in red, black, and orange. These symbolize patriotism and the nation's wealth. The red color represents the struggle for freedom. The black represents the people of Zambia. Orange symbolizes the nation's mineral wealth, and green, its natural resources. The flying eagle represents the freedom in Zambia and the ability of the country to rise above its problems. Largest and second highest falls and largest man-made lake. The Victoria Falls are the largest waterfalls in the world. They are located midway along the course of the Zambezi River at the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. They are also among the 7 wonders of the world. The second highest waterfalls in Africa are the Colombo Falls. The Colombo Falls are located in northern Zambia. Lake Kariba is the world's largest man-made lake. It is located in Siavanga, Zambia. It is used for fishing and also to supply hydroelectric power to Zambia and Zimbabwe. "72 tribes, home of the Big Five, and no national dress." Zambia is home to 72 tribes. You would think this would cause a commotion or confusion, but it hasn't been much of a problem compared to other countries. The main tribes in Zambia are the Lozi, the Bemba, the Kaonde, the Tonga, the Luvali, and the Ngoni. The Big Five game animals in Africa are the elephant, lion, leopard, rhinoceros, and buffalo. Zambia is one of the few countries where all 5 animals can be found. Zambia also, does not have a traditional dress because it is such a diverse nation. Zambian women traditionally wear chitenge, which is a piece of cloth with colorful print and patterns. The chitenge cloth is also used to make different clothes with different designs. Zambian culture. Nchima is the staple food of Zambia and a common dish for every ethnic group of the country. Made from finely ground maize flour called mealie meal, cooked by mixing the corn meal with hot water to make a very thick porridge. Although boxing, netball, volleyball, squash, rugby, golf, and athletics are all popular, football or soccer is considered the national sport. Music and dance is a very important aspect of the Zambian culture. The various tribal units have their own dance forms. However, makishi is common amongst all tribes. While dance is usually done for initiation ceremonies, it is used for celebration as well. When it comes to music, drums are used the most, with a variety of drumming ceremonies. A few more interesting facts. The termite hills are the size of a house. Only one country has more elephants than Zambia. The traditional name for Victoria Falls is Mosi or Tonya. Victoria Falls is double the height of Niagara Falls. Zambia is one of Africa's most stable countries. Touring Zambia. A visa and a passport is required for a visit to Zambia. The best time to visit Zambia is between June and October. Currently, an anti-malaria dosage is strongly recommended 2 weeks prior to departure. Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River, one of the top 5 places to visit. South Lungwa National Park, Lower Zambezi National Park, and the Q2UA's National Park. Agriculture. Agriculture. In 2020, Zimbabwe's agricultural sector contributed 2.7% to the national GDP. This was a 2% reduction from its contribution in 2019. This reduction in agriculture contribution to GDP has been the trend in the past decade, with an average contribution of 6.74%. The contribution in 2020 is the lowest since 2004. The Zambian agricultural sector comprises crops, livestock, and fisheries. Zambia covers 75 million hectares, out of which 58%, or 42 million, is classified as medium to high potential for agricultural production. However, only 15% of this land is currently under cultivation. Zambia has ample water resources, but has done little to exploit them via investments in irrigation systems, and the majority of farms remain dependent on rain-fed growing cycles. In the past 10 years, there has been a general upward trend in the percentage of farmers reporting using fertilizer, as well as the rate of fertilizer application. Contribution of Zambia agriculture to GDP and value added per worker, 2000 to 2020. Agriculture crops. The country's stable crop and most cultivated is corn or maize. Other major crops include cotton, soybeans, tobacco, groundnuts, paprika, sorghum, wheat, rice, sunflower seeds, coffee, as well as sugar, fruits, other vegetables, and flowers. The fisheries and livestock sector in Zambia has been put in the spotlight in the last few years, and it is marketed as a viable and economically attractive option in diversifying agricultural production. Agricultural livestock. The livestock subsector produces everything derived from cattle, as well as dairy products, chicken, eggs, pigs, hides, and skins. In 2020, the livestock sector showed moderate growth for cattle, sheep, and goats, with only pigs having a decrease of 12.37%. This was attributed to the availability of good pasture and browsing vegetation and water points due to sufficient rains. Agriculture fisheries. The fisheries sector generally continued its upward growth in 2020. Agricultural production went up by an impressive 18.69%, and capture fisheries production increased by 3.94%, with continued investment and positive regional trade being attributed to this growth. Development of Zambia's agriculture. The agricultural sector is guided by the National Agricultural Policy of 2012 to 2030. The overall vision is to develop a competitive and diversified agricultural sector driven by equitable and sustainable agricultural development. Also, the Zambian government seeks to promote agriculture as a way to diversify the economy away from an over-reliance on copper. The government is working to develop farm blocks in all the country's 10 provinces for large and medium commercial farming, fish farming, and livestock production. Private equity and other investors are active in this sector.
Roads. Roads in Zambia. In Zambia, some roads are designated as numbered routes to help with navigation. There is a nationwide numbering scheme consisting of interterritorial roads, territorial roads, district roads, and rural roads. In the 70s, Zambia had one of the best highway networks in sub-Saharan Africa. In 1991, it was estimated by the National Road Fund Agency that 80% of the road network had deteriorated, and out of total road assets valued at $2.3 billion in US, $400 million had been lost due to neglected maintenance. In October of 2022, at a symposium was dubbed Sustainable Infrastructure Development Using Cement and Concrete Technologies, Road Development Agency, Chilanga Cement, Dangote Limited, and Bari Zambia Limited signed an agreement to partner to the development of concrete roads across the country. The roads in Zambia consist of interterritorial roads, which are the main routes used to connect Zambia with other countries. They are designated with the letter T followed by a number from 1 to 6. The territorial roads are the main routes connecting different towns in Zambia. Areas where there is no interterritorial road, they are designated with an M followed by a number from 1 to 20. There are 7 major ports in Zambia. Located in Central and Southern Africa, the Republic of Zambia is landlocked nation bordered by the Congo, Botswana, Namibia, Angola, etc. The country houses 15.9 million people belonging to different ethnic and religious communities. It is abundant in natural resources such as minerals, forestry, fresh water, and cultivated land. And below are the names of the 7 major ports. When you arrive in Zambia, all arriving passengers must have at least 6 months validity on their passports from the date of entry. The passport must also have at least 3 full blank pages. All travelers who are not Zambian citizens or residents are require visas to come to Zambia must hold a valid visa to enter Zambia. Depending on the nationalities, Visas can be obtained on arrival at the port of entry, at the Zambian missions abroad, or obtained prior to traveling to Zambia. Anyone, regardless of nationality, is now able to apply for an e-visa to Zambia. All non-citizens and non-residents arriving in Zambia by air must be in possession of a valid return air ticket. Those arriving by land and water must have enough funds for their stay and departure from Zambia. Upon departing Zambia, every other person departing from Zambia except in direct transit through Zambian air have left the precincts of the airport shall appear before an immigration officer for immigration formalities, including paying for visas for those requiring visas. Non-Zambian citizens who are leaving the country permanently or whose immigration permits have become invalid must surrender the permit to immigration officers upon exit.
Here are the different sources that were used to create this presentation.